Hey everyone, if you think that your Social Security benefit estimate is a trustworthy source of information that you can rely on to plan your retirement, you need to watch this video because let me tell you, it's not. Now, some of the reliability of this statement depends on your age and a few other factors. And in today's video, I'm going to tell you how to know if your estimate can be trusted or if you need to plan on another number. Hey, if we haven't met yet, I'm Devin, and this channel is all about helping you understand the Social Security rules so you can use them to your advantage. If you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that notifications bell. And everyone, whether you're new here or you've been around for a while, you ought to hit that like button too, because in today's video, I'm going to give you some information that you may not have heard before. So on an annual basis, the Social Security Administration creates your Social Security statement. Now, most people no longer receive these in the mail. Instead, you have to access them online at your MySSA account. The exception is that for individuals who are age 60 and older who are not receiving Social Security benefits and don't yet have a My Social Security account. If that's you, the administration is going to mail you one about 3 months before your birthday. And when you get this statement, it has estimated benefits that you can receive at various ages. Most people will use the estimates on this statement to plan for the income they can expect to receive throughout their retirement. Let me just stop for a minute here and say, I hope you do have a retirement income plan. It doesn't have to be fancy or wrapped up in a nice binder or something that you paid several $1,000s for. It just needs to be a written version of your estimated income and expenses during retirement. And if you need some help with yours, I'll put a link below where you can find me and my team. Anyway, when you're building this retirement income plan, you list all of your income sources, including Social Security. Typically, you or your financial planner will get this information right off of your Social Security statement. But unfortunately, for some people, this estimate is just not very accurate. The reason it isn't accurate is that the Social Security Administration projects your future benefit in today's dollars. They do not take into account any future growth that could happen. Now, one of the first issues, which isn't really even the real problem that we're going to talk about today, is that they assume your earnings from last year is what you'll earn for every year in the exact amount in the future up to the projected retirement dates on the statement. So they'll give you an age of 62, full retirement age, and age 70, and show you a corresponding benefit for that amount. Now, if there were no earnings in the last year, they'll look at 2 years prior and make the same assumption. And if you don't have any earnings for the last 2 years, they're going to assume that your future earnings are going to be zero. So if you stop working or start working again, if you've had zeros in the last 2 years, your estimate is going to be thrown off considerably. So for example, if you stop working at 62 and you don't plan to file for benefits until your full retirement age, your estimate of benefits at full retirement age is probably going to be higher than what you're actually going to receive. And that's not a surprise anyone wants. But again, that's not the real problem. To understand the real problem requires a little bit of context here and a brief overview of the steps they use to calculate your Social Security benefit. The summarized version is that they'll take your historical earnings and adjust them for inflation through age 59. Now, they'll use your earnings after 59 as well. They just don't inflate them. They'll use them at face value instead. Then they'll take the highest 35 years of those earnings after they've indexed them for inflation, and they'll sum them up. Then they'll divide by 420 to get the averaged monthly earnings. They refer to this as the AIM. Now, once they have that, they apply it to a formula that's specific to individuals who are 62 in that calendar year. And the result is your full retirement age benefit, which is also known as your PIA or primary insurance amount. Again, that's the quick and dirty version of the steps, but I don't want to spend too much time getting hung up in the specifics of the calculation process. I want to move on to the problems that's in the Social Security statement. So this formula that we just talked about works out fine when you finally retire and file for benefits. At that point, you've earned the money you're going to earn and just about everything is caught up to present day. The inaccuracies surface when they estimate your benefits when you still have a few years left before filing for those benefits. The biggest problem is that they assume today's numbers aren't going to change. In the benefits estimate, two of the most important components of the Social Security calculation have no adjustments built in for future growth. This means that the estimate is less accurate for people who are younger because they have more years of future earnings ahead, and assumptions that come with that of 0% growth. Now, the inverse is also true because as you age, you get closer to retirement, your benefit starts to be based on actual numbers, and the estimate does become more reliable. But we have to break this down into two separate problems for you to fully understand what's going on with the statement. Problem number one, which we've already partially covered, is that they don't inflate your future earnings. For example, if you're 45 years old and you're earning $75,000 per year, the Social Security Administration is going to assume that exactly $75,000 will continue into the various ages listed on your benefits estimate. No inflation at all is added. Now, needless to say, this estimation method lowballs the actual earnings that you're most likely going to experience. I mean, for example, a 45-year-old who earns $75,000, like we were talking about a moment ago, if he gets a 3% annual increase to his salary, he's going to see a salary increase between the ages of 45 and full retirement age from $75,000 to $143,000. Now, since the system rewards a higher benefit to those with higher earnings history, not paying attention to those increasing earnings is a serious oversight that dampens the estimates down. The second problem is that they use today's formula. That's the double whammy of this underestimation issue. It's not the earnings on their own that cause the problems, but it's also the fact that they consider today's formula to be the formula that's going to be used when they calculate your future benefits. And it won't stay the same, I can tell you that. To get your official benefit, the formula in place the year you turn 62 is used. I want to reiterate that. This is important because the numbers in the formula generally increase every year in response to the average wage index. In fact, in every year since 1979, with the exception of 1 year, the formula has increased. Let me show you why this is a big deal, and let's go back to the Social Security calculation for a moment and look at the current formula. For individuals turning 62 in 2021, the formula for your full retirement age benefit, again, your PIA, is as follows. For every dollar of averaged index monthly earnings up to $996, you'll get 90 cents per month in benefits. For every dollar of averaged index monthly earnings between $996 and $6,002, you'll get 32 cents per month in benefits. And for every dollar in averaged index monthly earnings between $6,002 and the annual taxable cap, you'll get 15 cents per month in benefits. But when the administration is calculating your benefits, they don't estimate what this formula will be when you turn 62. Instead, they use the formula in place during the year your statement is generated. So if you receive a benefits estimate in 2021, the 2021 formula was used. This means that if you're 45, the formula and those calculation points that your estimate is based on is most likely much lower than what it'll be when your final benefit calculation is completed. Now, as you age, this slowly starts to become less of an issue as the formula slowly moves higher and gets closer to where it will be when your benefit is officially calculated. So how bad is this problem? Well, the combination of not assuming your wages will increase or the bin point formula will increase means that you could be planning with some faulty numbers. So for example, let's take the case of Jeremy. He got his first job in 1998 at the age of 22. His starting pay was $40,000 per year, and every year he's gotten a raise that's equivalent to 3%. Now this gives him a 2021 salary of $78,943. When the Social Security Administration estimates his future benefits, they assume that the prior year salary is going to increase to his retirement at either 62, 67, or 70 at that same rate with no increases. They use the exact amount, again, as what's listed in the prior year. Now, to figure out how this is going to affect his benefits estimate, we could take those numbers over to the online Social Security calculator. If we plug in Jeremy's earnings and we use today's dollars, there is an option that says today's dollars. It gives him a benefit at age 67 of $2,452 per month. Now, if we simply change that to future inflated dollars, it more than doubles what his future benefit will be. But this is not the easy fix. I want to give you a quick word of warning here. I would not use this inflation method to estimate your future benefits. It's too high. There's two extremes here. There's either not using an inflation method or having one that's way too high. The assumption they use is around 4% or even higher for future wages, which is going to be applied to both your earnings and the benefits formula. Instead, I'd recommend you use my future benefits calculator. This calculator is completely free on my website, and it's going to let you put in future earnings that are variable and choose the inflation rate that you're comfortable with. I'll link to that down in the description. I find the Social Security Administration's estimation method to be a bit odd. Not including these numbers on the benefits estimates raises a few questions for me. The first, needless to say, is why? I can't think of a good reason, really. There may be one, but it's just odd that they don't use this, because when they project out the longevity of the Social Security Trust Fund, they do assume that wages will increase and the corresponding increase to the average monthly earnings index and the bend point formula. They have all of that built in, so does it make sense that they don't use it when they're doing the estimates? It certainly doesn't seem like it would be a huge step or barrier for them to start including those same projections in the benefits estimates. But for some reason they don't, and that's what we have to deal with. But now that you know this, you're going to be in a better position to plan around it. And speaking of planning, it's so much easier to navigate Social Security when you know the rules. And if you want a cheat sheet that has the most important rules and numbers, you need to get your free copy of my cheat sheet. I update this every year, and it has things like the earnings limit, the tax formula, the age-based reduction and increase amounts, and a whole lot more on there too. There's a link in the description where you can get yours today. As always, thank you so much for watching.